I've been getting a little suspicious about Solana. Like, how can this be possible? How can Solana have 126 times more transactions than Cardano, yet this? Where are the people? Where's the excitement? And why is this happening in the first place? Solana's past $250, but behind the scenes I saw rumors of inflated numbers, failed transactions, scams, wash trading, you name it, there's some bad data for it. So I wanted to do some digging myself, and what I found was a story that went all the way from unsettling data to Edward Snowden.
Nobody's using it, but for like meme coins and scams.
Starting with a pretty shocking breakdown from earlier this year. So Flip Research, he had a problem. He was hearing a lot of bullish sentiment about Solana. He believed the hype and he thought it might actually overtake Ethereum. A lot of people have thought this, but his research suggested otherwise. It suggested that Solana was a house of cards that was just ready to fall. But then why do people believe Solana is so valuable in the first place? Well, it's typically one of these reasons. It has a high number of users, the network earns a large income in the form of transaction fees, and it has a high trading volume on its decentralized exchanges and within stable coins that are native on Solana. Basically, the idea is that Solana is valuable because a lot of people use it and it makes a lot of money. And that would make a lot of sense. So this guy Flip Research, he runs the numbers to verify this all himself, and compared to ETH, the numbers look great until he took a little bit of a closer look. So you see, Solana did have higher daily user transactions, but not like a normal amount higher. ETH was clocking in at 2.92 daily transactions per user. Solana was at 217 transactions per user per day. We're talking almost 100 times more. The average person was making over 200 transactions per day. It seems off. Google Trends suggested that Ethereum was consistently more popular than Solana during that time. So where are all these transactions coming from? Well, as the image he posted says, the secret ingredient might just be crime. He found an enormous amount of Solana projects that had rug pulled in the last 24 hours alone. That is, scammed everyone. Not only that, but the vast majority of the wallets involved seemed to be bots in the same network with tens of thousands of transactions. This meant that they could generate fake volumes and fake numbers of transactions until the project rug pulled. And the bots would move on to the next rug pull. He found evidence of over 50 rug pulls, which generated more than 200 million in volume and $500,000 in fees. And by comparison, he struggled to find any rugs on Ethereum that had any meaningful volume. Now, if you're confused about the bot part, check this out. Antoine Rizzo literally showed how easy it is to launch a token with fake wallets that buy automatically, meaning the pump looks legit, but it's complete BS. And he says, trust nothing, verify. And this isn't the first guy who's noticed suspicious transactions. All you have to do is look and you'll see people pointing out things that just don't make sense. Anyone who's using a chain and using a chain that deals with a lot of real legitimate people, once they look at the activity, they're like, wait, what? And then they look in the numbers and they're like, well, yeah, this doesn't add up. Here, Cardano Yoda, he breaks down how 90% of Solana users are generated by bots, and there's simply no active community whatsoever. But back to our original thread with Flip, he thought that there were a few key implications from all of this. The data suggested that 93% of trades and fees on Solana were fake. 93% of everything he thinks is fake. He calls them non-organic trades. And on top of this, trading fees earned and trade volume is highly inflated as well. And again, many other people have noticed similar patterns. GPHunter.eth, he felt that this was all questionable Solana data and it was suggested of wash trading. Wash trading is where you sell and then immediately rebuy an asset. A trade is made, but the ownership doesn't meaningfully change. What this does is artificially pump up the trading volume because on paper, more money is being traded, but actual ownership doesn't change. This is backed up by data that suggests that 80% of active addresses on Solana trade less than $10. And it appears that they're only getting better at this. They're only getting more sophisticated. They're figuring out methods to make this more undetectable. So that's a lot of signs pointing towards these practices happening on Solana. And there's way more. Continuing with Flip's thread, he looked into MEV, maximal extractable value. This is sometimes referred to as an invisible tax that miners use to extract value by reordering transactions. So unlike traditional finance where transaction orders are rigidly enforced, crypto miners can order them as they please. So naturally, some of them do it for personal gain, using bots to find transaction opportunities where the maximal amount of value can be extracted essentially ahead of that transaction. transaction. And well, according to Flip's research, most of the value on Solana is being derived from MEV, and that they're particularly vulnerable to sandwich attacks, with one apparently happening every 4 seconds. And if you don't know, a sandwich attack is where a bot spots your transaction before it's included. So it pumps the price beforehand and then sells right after yours, pocketing the difference and leaving you with a higher costing token. And again, this is apparently happening every 4 seconds. Flip felt that with Solana's huge quantity of high volatility, low liquidity meme coins, this was the perfect environment for bots to extract value from MEVs. One sandwich bot on Solana pocketed $30 million in 2 months. That's $30 million in value extracted from the real users of Solana, simply as a tax for using that ecosystem. That's insane. As long as huge amounts of meme coin activity are driven to Solana, sophisticated players are going to continue to exploit it. This isn't illegal. They're going to use MEV and insider trading on said meme coins to dump on everyone else. And the story also doesn't end here, because Flip looked at retail value extraction. In other words, coins that celebrities pumped and then dumped. The results were pretty ugly, unsurprisingly. Not just for like the Hawk Tuah coin, just in general. Most were down by 90% or more, and their promotional tweets are just deleted from the celebrity accounts. The best performer actually was Andrew Tate's Daddy coin. This coin performed at -73. So not exactly a winner either. That's the best. More evidence suggested rampant insider trading, devs dumping on buyers, a story as old as time. So all in all, a complete nightmare. And we haven't even touched Solana's poor chain stability, numerous outages, and high rates of failed transactions. I mean, the amount of failed transactions is appalling. And now I'll read you the conclusion to Flip's analysis, and then we'll get into why this is happening in the first place. I believe that the commonly cited SOL metrics are significantly overstated. Furthermore, the vast majority of organic users are losing money on-chain to bad actors at a rapid pace. We are currently in the mania phase, where retail flows are still outperforming outflows to these sophisticated players, allowing for positive optics. Once users are fatigued from ongoing losses, many of these metrics will collapse quickly. But outside of Flip research and Twitter at large, what are other people saying about Solana? Well, Edward Snowden, he had this to say.
I mean, when you look back at the Bitcoin white paper, I think what you see is an adversarial approach to the system, and that's really what you have to be considering. A lot of people, and I don't want to name names, but Solana, are taking good ideas and they're just going, well, what if we just centralized everything? It'll be faster, it'll be more efficient, it'll be cheaper. And yeah, sure, it is, right. But nobody's using it but for like meme coins and scams, because if anybody puts anything significant on it and then all the states begin moving towards it, it's going to be a system that has levers that people can simply just take from you. You have to be thinking for the adversarial case as opposed to the convenient, easy, early case. I mean, that's uncomfortable for like a lot of these founder mode people who are like, oh no, we need the minimum viable product, this, that, and the other. Sure, if you're trying to get rich, that'll work. A lot of people have demonstrated that. They'll continue to do that. But if you want something that will last, you have to engineer it to last. And that means thinking about how it's going to be attacked and making sure it can survive that. Because we at Crypto, we're living on the X, on the ground, right? You are at the intersection. You are where the bombs are going to drop. Let's make sure that we have roofs that can survive them.
So essentially he's saying Solana is pushing for more and more centralization to make money, which is completely contrary to the nature of Bitcoin and kind of crypto in general. It's decentralized by design. The major draw of Bitcoin is decentralization. It makes it extremely robust when something is decentralized. Nobody can control it or extort it. But with Solana, that just isn't the case. So from this perspective, Solana is fundamentally broken without the design principles that make Bitcoin and many other cryptos so secure. So when you pile on that perspective on what we've already talked about, it doesn't really paint a great picture for this network. But what are people saying in Solana's defense? We want to look at all sides of the story. Some have pointed out that Solana is partnered with Google and other large companies, which can be double checked on their website. And this absolutely gives the project legitimacy. There's many billionaires holding this thing as well. There's many celebrities associated. There's no shortage of reasons to, at a glance, go, oh yeah, looks good. That's kind of the whole thing, is built around looking good at a glance. Now, I also saw another user point out that the NASDAQ is 99% bots, so Solana being primarily bots, not a big deal. I mean, I do get that argument. I will say the NASDAQ, it's more like 60, 70% bots, but I get the point. Another one pointed out that no ecosystem is free of rugs and scams, which is totally true, but the fishy thing here is just how many are happening on Solana. And in wider news, Solana had the brakes put on its ETF. For now. I mean, there's still hope on the horizon. It could very well happen. Trump's SEC pick, Paul Atkins, he's a lot more forward-thinking and innovative, especially in this vein, which could mean Solana at least secures a future in an ETF. However, if the claims made by investigators like Flip are correct, then they've got a lot of shady stuff to fix before something like this realistically could happen. But what do I think? I think the answer is actually really simple. It was clear in 2021 that people wanted a cheap DeFi alternative to Ethereum. Ethereum gas fees were out of control, people wanted DeFi, but it was just too expensive for the average person. However, to be a cheap, decentralized, and secure blockchain that allows for dApps to be built on top, this would take many, many years to build. So if I were to guess, a plan was devised to make a blockchain with a few trade-offs. Build a blockchain that focuses only on the measurable success metrics. What do people care about? Let's optimize for that thing. And then we'll gain a bunch of popularity, and by the time other people are able to catch up, we'll be so big and have so much money that we'll be able to fix everything and fix this sinking ship before it totally capsizes. What I mean exactly here is there was an incentive to make a blockchain that looked like it was cranking hundreds of transactions per second across millions of wallets, trading hundreds of times per day, because if they built that, then the world would simply be able to point to it and go, that's it. That's the chain that has the best metrics that everyone cares about. They know there's a potential $1 trillion reward if they can pump all the numbers long enough to just give them enough time to fix everything that's wrong or everything that's just a flat out lie. So it's pretty clear why they do it. And maybe eventually they figure it out and they go completely legit and they go transparent with all their numbers, but that's not a reality I'm going to count on right now. The most important thing you can do in crypto is research and squint your eyes and question things when they don't seem right, because man, in crypto, yes, it's 2024. There are a lot of things that just aren't right and don't make sense, for a clear, obvious reason if you just look at it. If you don't know where to start, just follow your curiosities and you'll start getting leads and you'll realize how few amazing opportunities there are, but the amazing ones generally stand out pretty quickly. You look into them, you're like, oh, it just makes sense. Let me learn more about this, let me check all my boxes, and generally it's a pretty good investment opportunity, especially if you can figure that out before other people. If you'd like a more structured approach on how to earn money from crypto, learn more about crypto, you can check out my community FINOVA. That'll be linked in the description. These are profits who are made by FINOVA members this week who followed expert traders like our head of research, Kyle, as he broke down tokens and market opportunities in our Discord every single day. We've also just released our exclusive 30-day certification that shows FINOVA members the exact tools, strategies, and knowledge needed to successfully execute trades on a consistent basis. There's over 200 highly detailed training videos included directly in the membership. See you over there.